Where's Rita from Bristol? Rita, please be sitting close to an aisle. Okay, great, thanks. Here you go. Read away. Both questions.
Oh, both. Okay. Have you voted yet? And do you prefer to vote on election day or absentee, and why?
I have not voted yet. I will vote absentee if I have to, but the reason I like to vote on election day is call me anal retentive, call me distrustful. I want to know that my ballot is filled out right, and it is stuffed into the machine, and the machine blinks, and I get a number to it. I'm very adamant about that. I voted absentee once or twice, and the first time I did it, the gal on the other side of the desk handed me an envelope to put it in. I put it in the envelope, and I handed it back to her. And as I handed it back to her, I realized that you have to fill out something on the outside of the envelope. Well, she never told me that. So I said, do I have to fill out the envelope itself? And she looked at it, I guess you do. Now, would that have counted on election day or not? From that point on, I want to know that my ballot got into that machine and was counted.
Very well, sir. Where's Greg from Racine? Greg from Racine, right over here. Greg, a lot of people with multiple questions today, Jay. Greg's got 14 questions. No, we're going to have him read the second one.
1 through 12.
Second one, please.
Throughout this election cycle, I've noticed a lot of, I've been watching a lot of the speeches, and one underlying theme in the Republican ones is their love of country, love of patriotism. Mm-hmm. And I'm not seeing that on the left side anymore. And I was just wondering if you could pinpoint.
It's amazing how that's become a Republican thing. How has patriotism and love of country become a Republican ideal? The Republican ideals more and more are just American ideals. Low taxes, less intrusive government, stay out of my business as much as possible, love of country. I suppose it ultimately dates back to the 60s and the civil rights era where it wasn't even cool to have a love of country. But very recently, the Democrat Party really has owned that. They owned the notion that you can only complain about America, you can't actually cheer America. It's one of the things that's desperately lacking, obviously, in America. It's desperately lacking in the Obama administration, and it's one of the ways that Mitt Romney wins this election. I've said very early on, with Obama on his apology tours and apologizing for America's past at every turn, talking about how its best days are behind it. From the very earliest days of his tenure, I believe that the guy that beats him is a guy who can be Reagan-esque in that message. And Mitt Romney does sprinkle a lot of that type of patriotic talk through his speeches. And I think it's going to be something that is important a theme in fall as any other theme, as the economy, as jobs. If he starts talking about unabashedly loving the country, talking about how its best days are still ahead of it, talking about how people should put their flags on their porches again, I think people will find that so refreshing, and he'll win easily. I'm starting to think landslide. We'll see. Well, more news came out today. More news came out today that the economy didn't grow as expected. It's always these horribly unexpected numbers. Once again, the GDP rose by 1.9%. Unexpectedly slow growth. You can't hide that. You can't fudge that through fall. People are going to realize it's just time for a change.
Yeah. Jay from Waukesha's got the next question. Here you go, Jay.
Fellow Jay.
One of the most frustrating things about the election right now is the voters that will not be voting or are voting because they are uninformed just by TV commercials or whatever it may be. Do you think a flat tax of some type would inspire all workers to be more involved and seek more information about candidates and learn about how tax dollars are spent? And if not, what do you think would?
Just getting more people involved in how our tax dollars are spent? Well, one of the great ideas would be to take it away from government, the automatic collection from government. If everybody had to write out every year, at the end of every month or every year, how much in taxes they were sending to the state and the federal governments, our taxes would come down quickly. But, of course, it's set up that way. There's a reason that government takes that money out of your paycheck before you ever see it. They're hoping it's painless. They're hoping that you don't notice it. So that would be the best way to really break the cycle. A flat tax might help in that one of the big problems, I know what you're alluding to, one of the biggest problems when it comes to taxation is people don't know what level of tax they're really paying. They don't know how it compares to others. It amazes me that you have so many people that and I just use this as a generic number. I get challenged on it all the time, but it's just the number. In general, people who make $35,000 a year or less aren't taxed in federal taxes. They don't pay federal taxes. Now, it's taken out of their check, but they get it back in April. If I'm always amazed at how many people in that tax bracket complain about the taxes that they're paying. Well, okay, you're paying little to nothing. Do you know what the rest of us are paying? So in that sense, a flat tax would make it a lot more clear. And I think it would be a lot more fair. I think you'd have a lot less grumbling about taxes if we all knew we're all in this together. What bothers me to no end, and I know I'm just sort of recreating the show here, but what bothers me to no end is the fact that we have so many people in this country now, nearly half of this country, that doesn't pay anything in federal income taxes, and still complains. I think that in order to really tackle our tax problem, everybody has to have an investment in it. Everybody has to pay some tax, even if it's just a small percentage for those that are paying nothing now. Everyone has to feel that burn every time they get a paycheck.
The audience here, Barb from Franklin. Barb, where might you be? Another one. Why are they all sitting in the corners, Jay? It's like people are afraid.
They're making you work today.
I don't know. Barb, we actually have a videotape going on here, so we got to give Barb the question and the microphone. Barb, go ahead. Yeah, the second one, please.
I don't think she'll keep it. You can trust her with the microphone.
Why can't your station increase broadcasting to a wider area in the state so more people get the real and true educate northern Wisconsin and central Wisconsin?
That might be a question for Jerry. Mark and I think, have been pushing for it for a while.
Hey, Barb, can I have that card back there?
We have a directional signal here at WISN, and we have a 50,000 watt signal, but we're a little higher on the band. We're up at 1130, so it's sort of hit and miss. Whereas folks lower on the dial, if they're 50,000 watts, they're almost a regional radio station. So we have some limitations when it comes to our actual signal. The way we would have to do that would be to put our shows on different radio stations to syndicate. And it's something that I've been sort of quietly pushing now on occasion when I can get the big bosses here and there, because I really believe if we had more conservative talk radio in other parts of the state, it doesn't have to be ISN, but if we had conservative radio in the northeastern part of the state and in the northwestern part of the state, I am certain we could turn Wisconsin red. And I don't say that to be boastful. I think that the conservative ideal, the conservative mindset is just it's built so much around common sense and common sense thinking. And eventually common sense wins out. I think we're finally seeing that happen, for example, in the makeup of our state legislature. For 15, 20 years or more, Belling and Sykes and Bond and others, they've been harping on the fact that we have to have conservative Republicans, consistently conservative ideological Republicans. Well, now every Republican pretty much in office in southeastern Wisconsin, I think without exception, is a conservative Republican. And they have had the backbone to back up Scott Walker with his changes. It's no mistake that every Republican is a conservative Republican in southeastern Wisconsin. Within the influence of talk radio, Mark and the rest of us have changed the political makeup of Wisconsin. No doubt about it.
I think that Barb, we have a comment, guys. Barb was talking about using southeastern Wisconsin conservative talk radio, kind of like Radio Free Europe.
Yes, we should. Let's free the rest of the state.
Like we bombard Dale Schultz's district.
Yes, we need to free the rest of the state.
We have a comment, sir. What's your name?
Jonathan Long. My question is, with Vicki, I believe that she has been doing some things in northern Wisconsin.
She's on an Eau Claire station, I think, isn't she? Yeah.
Okay, is that something that WISN will follow and syndicate with?
I don't know. I got to ask the man.
No. It's really
these are different deals. There's side deals.
It's really
different departments.
Exactly. It's very, very complicated. It gets into contractual stuff. My ultimate concern, in all candor, is that with regard to the shows on WISN, whether it's Jay's or Vicky's or Mark's, we want those to be Milwaukee-based shows. And as soon as you start to syndicate out of state, then the guy in Eau Claire, well, you're not talking enough about what's going on with the mining bill or whatever.
Or you start to feel the need to talk about things up north that no one here cares about.
But on the other hand, if we found outlets around the state that would like to rebroadcast a Milwaukee show, my phone number is one more follow-up.
I guess what they need to do is take their phone like I do everywhere I go, to the grocery store, and you put iHeartRadio on. It's the absolutely most fantastic idea, so promote that.
Yes. And iHeartRadio has been huge for Clear Channel.
Mrs. John Hogan, ladies and gentlemen, our CEO. I love that comment that you just made.